zone. With you is like being in the end zone. Touchdown, touchdown, ayy. I be in the box like it's bento. Hit my heart beating.
Hi, today I want to talk about the Serbian film. I've been watching this movie probably 10 years ago for the first time. And of course, I've always found it to be deeply unsettling. And still, there was something fascinating about it. It is a quite unusual movie. It became one of my favorite movies. Not because I'm into violence or gore. Additionally, I am not into splatter movies or watching people being degraded and decapitated or whatever. I love mystery and movies that are hard to understand. I enjoy if my mind is being challenged and I can analyze and think about the movie for, days after that. I prefer substance and I like if things give me a deeper understanding. Oh my god, there's such a loud bird. She's so aggressive. I don't know, it feels like she's stoned or something. I'm sorry if you can hear this bird. It just can't stop. I'm sorry, girl. Can you just please shut the hell up? Maybe I have to delay the filming. It's just so annoying. I think she just left. Or maybe she's too high to sing now. So yeah. So what I felt the first time when I watched Serbian film, I just had this feeling this story has happened. This is not a fictional story. It seemed too real, and characters are so relatable. That's the most important about a movie. To fall in love with the characters and to feel with them, to empathize with them. So I'm obsessed with the books of Garth Barker. But of course there are many other books on the Illumibibis, the families, and what they do. But I think Garth Barker's books are probably the best. And they describe how many of these families play games on people. Often those with very pure hearts or high psychic abilities. They pick someone to be used in certain exams for the Illumibibis to reach a higher degree. And I mean, the highest degrees are usually only for the bloodline families. So I don't think normal people can really reach the highest degrees. This is something that I have researched over years and it came together naturally at some point. Some of the high-range Illumibibi degrees can only be achieved if you are ready to torture people and destroy individuals of the human race. So they will pick a person or family for you and you have to make them do certain things or have them destroy themselves or being exploited. So they compete with each other over those highest degrees, and you can imagine how cruel and degraded it can become when you compete with other people and you have to play those games. They use methods similar like on the Truman Show. So the movie Truman Show tells you a small part of the story. This is a challenging topic. I will speak about it more in the future because I have researched a lot of information by now and I'm 100% sure that I know what I'm talking about. So they literally sacrifice people, unaware civilians, in rituals and connect them to individuals. They literally advise someone to this person and they have to try to destroy this person. And if it doesn't work, if they don't succeed, they will find somebody else who will work on that person. It is connected to choosing individuals with psychic abilities, with high energy, with a certain energy in this realm. Assume they pick individuals who they notice have a strong manifestation ability, also strong characters, people they think might become a threat later, and people with a high pineal gland activity. That's what I have heard, but there might be also other criterias like DNA blood types, and I'm not really sure about everything. But the point is that these so-called games, they also take place inside the dark web. So now it has become much easier to keep up a certain network online and hire people who are ready to get involved in specific operations against individuals. So we are living in very dangerous times, I can tell you. What I have witnessed is that it has become a lot more common during the past 5 or 6 years. I do not believe all Masons are bad and involved. Those are the very dark Masonic lodges, and some of the highest degrees are connected to torturing and hurting people who will probably never even know what happened to them. But it has to do with the Illumibibis. They tend to make sure that those highest seats remain reserved for those who can go through these exams. So some of the highest ranges can only be achieved through torturing certain individuals who have no idea what is being done to them. And so they have to find ways to deceive this person. Usually it's being done by attaching rituals, demonic forces to them. They also try to change a person into the complete opposite of what they were before. So one example is they try to change a very masculine man into a gay person, make them become interested in trans women, or just overall reject their masculine side and become soft and weak. But I also think it depends on the range, how extreme the test will be. If you can influence human beings to a large extent, and usually it's to harm them. It's not so much in the positive way in those tests. So the Serbian film is very interesting to watch if you know about all these things. You can observe how such an operation is being performed on a family that has absolutely no idea, is very loving, very kind, and there's just no reason to do anything like that to them. It happens a lot that they choose people who worked in the adult industry. It's somehow easier to pursue the Mason or the wannabe Illumibibi higher degree by telling them, oh, look what this person has done, and they're just horrible, they don't deserve to have this or that. But these days also you can fake a lot of movies or false evidence with AI, and you can pretend that somebody has done things that never even happened. Additionally, my assumption is that many of these people from the bloodline families don't have the best relationship with their own sexuality, because they had to go through torture during their childhood, and they often use sexually degrading things for their programming and rituals. So some of them don't really like a loving, kind, and normal sexuality. So they kind of reject people who have that. And God beware if people are aware of the power that is connected to sexuality, especially if they're a woman. Even worse if the woman still connects love to it and is not completely degraded. So it usually starts with surveillance, and now you can literally survey everyone over the iPhone. In the past, you had built-in cameras inside people's TVs or microwaves, even fire alarms. I'm sure that's still happening, but it's easier today to survey someone. So in the Serbian movie, Miloš is the main character. He's a retired adult film star. And he just had this natural talent. He never fatigued. Women automatically bonded with him. He was just born to be an adult film star. Also very good looking. There's a sweetness to this character, just a loving personality. which makes it so much better to watch because you feel this is a good person who doesn't deserve what will be happening to him. So his female ex-partner contacts him, offering him a role in a new special movie. So I have researched into this, and I'm not just talking nonsense. Often these pornographic actresses, they have been brainwashed, and they often tell them, oh, you're doing art. You know, the more degrading it gets, it's just art and it's never serious. People who reject that, they just don't understand the art form. That's a very common game by flattering someone. You're an artist, you're so talented, to make them do things that they would probably never get involved with under normal circumstances. I have noticed that many people want to become artists or labeled artists. It's somehow one of the highest forms of this universe, of this reality. So that's a secret method to lure people into things they would never agree to. So they use the same method on Miloš, flatter him continuously and tell him all sorts of good things about himself, to rise up his ego. His special friend by now is doing movies with animals, also thinking this is some kind of art form, the brainwashing. I want to mention, I have read a book by a guy named Alejandro Carballo, and he wrote a book named Alejandro, Lady Gaga, and the $1 billion farce. He was a victim of one of these games. He also worked in the adult industry. His partner, producer, was murdered, and they took over all of his estate. And then to mock him and to make him look crazy, they recorded a song named Alejandro by Lady Gaga, who is obviously very involved in those groups, because those Illumibibi groups, they are like not all the same. There are many smaller hidden groups inside this whole community. And some of these smaller groups do all sorts of crazy things. I do not personally believe that they are all always connected, but they're all protected from the law. Somehow there is literally no law for many of them unless you use occult knowledge and forces on them. So it has become quite common and popular to do songs on certain people they target. I hate this word. Or to even do movies or mention them in shows, create characters that will be played by actors in shows where the person just 100% recognizes themselves. And it's to make the person look crazy, also go crazy, and just to emotionally destabilize them. And it is also being mentioned in psychiatric science, in apostrophes, that people who think they are being featured on TV or something like that they are delusional or mentally ill. So it is a smart move from them. That is why I do believe Alejandro and that the song is indeed about him. The book is an interesting read. I will also mention it in my description. He tries to expose Masonry in his book and how they destroy people's lives and what they do. But many people don't understand that those are exams or programs to reach higher degrees. So going back to Serbian film, they destroy Miloš and his family by luring him into degrading behaviors, hypnotizing him and giving him drugs. He has no chance. The goal is to turn him into a pedophile, it seems. They usually try to involve someone from the family or a close friend who is actually a hidden enemy. Someone who is jealous, who doesn't really like you, but who is very close to you and who you trust. If there is no such a person in your life, they will try to send you people who befriend you or form relationships with you, and they will, step by step, start the program and brainwashing on you. So this individual will gain your trust, and then they will be used to destroy you or brainwash you. In the Serbian film, it's Miloš's brother who is very jealous of him because he's also in love with his wife. He's also a policeman, which could mean he is a Mason. So it is a very organized structure of a takedown of Miloš and his little family. At the beginning of the movie, the friend who now does art movies with animals and considers herself an artist brings Miloš bunny, a bunny. And this is something quite unusual, you know. You should actually think why, what is it about this bunny? In the books of Garth Barker, it is being mentioned that stuffed animals like bunnies or teddy bears are often being used to mind control someone or to attach rituals. So in my opinion, it is a ritual that has been done connected to this bunny. So always be careful about stuffed animals. I actually had it happen to me one time. I remember it. And it was a very similar situation, but as a human, it's very difficult to even realize many things. So Miloš asks the strange director what type of movies he does, and if you look at this painting that he has in the background, you can see that it's kind of, a degrading painting of a destroyed face. They have these strange faces, just damaged people where I feel they have somehow been involved in
ritual abuse,
killing people or destroying people's bodies. Like they have these kind of rituals in dungeons. I mean, many of you might have heard about it. So it seems that they have painted these people they have been killing in dungeons during rituals. That's how I feel about Picasso. I can't look at his art. There's something very unsettling about him. It always feels slightly disturbing to me when I see artists who paint, people with damaged faces or bodies. It's just something odd about it. I can't express it fully, because some of them, especially of Picasso, they look like that, and many people knew that Picasso was actually a really bad guy. So about him I'm quite sure, and I think they paint certain ritualistic abuse they have experienced or witnessed in the past. So here you're seeing Miloš's brother gasping at his wife, and he's madly in love with her and feels he will never have what he truly wants because he will never have her. Additionally, he seems to deal with some erectile dysfunction, so he constantly watches his brother's movies, and you can feel his deep-seated jealousy and envy. Basically similar to people like Lady Gaga, who look at a tall, beautiful woman who has it all somehow. Just things that she doesn't have. I have to say, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if this seems shallow to you or arrogant. I don't even care.
because these people are such nobodies and somebody has to call them out.
Later, you can see a guy who looks like an Illumibibi who enters a limousine and he smiles at Miloš. He's the contractor. He's the guy who organized all of that. So they try to program Miloš to become interested in teenage girls by forcing a blowjob on him while he is also being forced to watch this young girl from the orphanage eating an ice cream. He notices that he has been hypnotized and drugged, and he doesn't remember what has happened, what has been done to him, and what he did. So he finds some tapes and can see that he has killed the mother of this young girl during a physical act where he was drugged and manipulated to do things he wasn't aware of. And he also finds out that he has been raped by one of the guys who yes, he witnessed to be with the director. So this is when he realizes he has been manipulated and hypnotized, and they used him. And because he is a real man, he wants to get revenge. So from there it becomes deeply disturbing. I mean, they literally, in this Truman Show rituals, the games, they try to degrade people as much as possible. They often, they often put on challenges if it's possible to change, to make the person they're targeting change their gender or to change their sexuality. And they set up all sorts of things. Like they put a lot of money into this stuff. I mean, it literally, the person who is taking this exam has to, because they want to rise up in their range, so they have to use their own money, but they put in a lot of money to degrade the person or to reach their goal because they want to succeed. So those are Masonic exams, Illumibibi exams. They are playing on regular people and they are destroying lives. They have been responsible for many suicides or people in psychiatry.
People ending up ill, in hospital, losing their houses, or literally everything. Some people ended up homeless. I've heard quite a few stories that I can now connect. Today I know some of these people might have been sacrificed, psychological sacrifice,
in this Masonic system, and they have been targeted that way. I don't like targeted. This is a word you can't use because people's brain shuts down due to this target ... individual nonsense they have been spreading. I don't like to connect to this community or to any of this stuff. I don't connect to any of it, okay? I just want to say that. I have my own world, my own beliefs, and I don't connect to any of the conspiratorial terms. And, I have my own ideas and I don't like to be part of that. I feel it's an egregore. A lot of things are being made up and are meant to destroy people, and usually by using the belief of people to destroy themselves. I don't know if I can make myself clear, but so those games they play often include occult rituals. So that's the worst thing, because people don't pray anymore, they don't spiritually cleanse, so they're very open to these games. If somebody is praying regularly, if they have strong beliefs, if they have a connection to a higher power, if they do spiritual cleansing and praying, I mean, not one time per week in church. Praying means several times per day, connecting to something that you can call God, whatever it is, a higher power. It doesn't matter. You have to believe in something and you have to connect with it, and you have to speak and to believe that you're protected and to connect to this protection. Only believing without doing nothing doesn't work. You have to also practice certain rituals, like spiritual baths or there are different cleansing techniques. If you don't have that, it's very easy. It's very easy to play these games, Truman Show games. And I also assume it's not just that, but I also assume a lot of these people are bored. They have nothing to do. They have a lot of money. They're born into wealth. They have no work. They don't need to work. What do you think they will do with their time? If they're also connected to some satanic, I don't like this word too, satanic beliefs, and they think that destroying people will give them power, I'm sure the Illumibibis watch like millions of people. They have information on probably everyone right now, and they also can probably switch. Maybe they have built-in cameras into fire alarms, so they can switch into all sorts of cameras these days, because it's so easy now to access information of certain people. And they could put a lot of money into just, for fun, just watching people and getting some sort of amusement out of it.
Similar to the movie Rabbits by David Lynch. It's about a sitcom of rabbits, a rabbit family that is being watched while it is also watching TV all the time. And something dark is entering the living room from time to time. It seems like the devil, but the rabbits never really even notice that they let this stranger into their room who is a dark force. It's not just that they're watching TV, they're also constantly being watched. And they're being laughed at and ridiculed, you know, just like in a basic sitcom. So back to Serbian film. So the producer and his team finally managed to deceive Miloš into sexually abusing his own child. It's a seriously disturbing scene and very saddening to watch. And the brother, meanwhile, is sexually abusing Miloš's wife, while she's also drugged and unaware what's happening. So when Miloš notices that he has been deceived and he sees his son underneath him, he freaks out, and his wife also realizes what has happened. She wakes up and together they attack these people and smash their heads, kill the brother of Miloš. And I actually like this scene a lot. It's just so right to get revenge, and it just feels so good. They somehow seem to win. But in the end, unfortunately, it doesn't really look like that. So after this terrifying incident, the whole family is severely traumatized, and they try to get over it, but it seems after a while it can't be forgotten. So they decide to commit suicide together, and they lie down in bed and Miloš is shooting all of them together. So after that, another camera crew enters the room, and you can see that it's not over the contractor who moved into that car. He didn't die, and he was the one responsible for everything. And now they're literally draping the corpses of the family. That's how sick this whole thing is. So these kinds of movies have been traded inside the Illumibibi circles. I've read in Kurt Barker's books about it. So they also trade videos, films or pictures on these exams where people have been tortured and destroyed. You know, this has been going on for a very, very long time, for at least 100 years. So they make it look as if this only happens in places like Serbia and poor countries. But I have to tell you, this is way more common than you think, and it's global. It has nothing to do with Serbia. But it might explain why the Ukraine is a very important part for those specific people, because people just have no information on that. They can't imagine that things like that would actually happen. So, and they're so gullible also. They have these Truman Show games, not just that, but all sorts of strange experiments where they try to influence people to do certain things, and and it's like some sort of gaining mastery over human beings. Unfortunately, this also includes very often cannibalism. You want to understand how cruel some of these games really are. You can read Kurt Barker's book. He also mentions how the movie Boxing Helena is actually a true story. If you have not watched it, I elaborate. It's a woman whose legs and arms are being amputated by a surgeon who is in love with her, and she doesn't want him, so he stages a car accident, and after that he makes sure he has to take care of her. So yeah, he mutilates her and holds her a hostage. Kurt Barker mentions how they stuffed her body after she died and held her like a statue. Sorry. So it's quite shocking. The books are very enlightening and eye-opening. Kim Basinger refused to play the main part in that movie, and I can imagine why. She probably found out that it was a real story. These kind of degrading acts, they belong to these Illumibibi families who have too much power, too much time, and the bloodlines, they have too much money and nothing to do. It's just, you should know about that. What else can I say? It's traumatizing for me to speak about it. Watch that movie if you can. It's a very painful movie. Tell yourself, this is what these people do. Something has to change in this world. This can't go on
for another 100 or 1,000 of years. The occult and black magic or magic has to be used against these people. Their power has to be taken away from them, but not by just some humans, because I noticed that I tried to empower all humans. That's not how it works, no. Most humans are not even on that level. They cannot deal with a certain amount of power, so I was wrong about that. A certain type of person, only a small group of people can go against these Illumibibis, and they have to create new lodges, and they have to, they have to literally bind these families, and they have to use this occult power against them and to keep them bound forever. They have to develop methods, occult methods, and energetic, esoteric methods to destroy and bind these families, to keep them at stake, and to destroy these powers that also, I think, are connected to making this world a horrible place right now. So it's not everyone. The majority of people are not able to. They would just use these powers to their own advantage, and that's what I didn't realize. I mean, that's what I had to learn, that the basic human being is not ready and able to deal with such powers. They would just abuse them, which you can see in these families, and they have to be destroyed. The Illumibibis have to be destroyed, and the Christian tried it with prayers. Christians, it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked with just prayers. Now the next step is using the occult powers against them, using what they have used against us, against them, like multiplicated 10 times or 1,000,000 times. It has to happen. Just watch this movie. Tell yourself this is a reality. Also, if you want, watch Martyrs. It's also a real thing. This is a reality of these families. Just watch this movie also if you want to see more painful truth of these families, and always keep telling yourself this is reality, this is what they do, until you're so angry you have to take action. Okay, it's very difficult for me to do this. Take care. I hope I could help you to open your eyes. Take care. Bye.